Hello, I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano. I'm a chef on a mission. ChefOnAmission.com is where you can find out all about me. My new website, Truth in Menu. That's where this video is going to end up, Truth in Menu, because when I go out and eat, I get fed, I get pissed off that I'm lied to all the time about food and where it's from. And this is the part that really makes me mad. These chefs continue to lie, tell fabricated stories, just appease the customer, and most customers have no idea, so they believe the chef. But if you come dining with me, we'll get to the bottom of this. We were at a great beer event the other day, phenomenal beer event, and it was a local restaurant here. And Jamie and I have a restricted diet when we go out to eat. That's why we ask so many questions. That's why we get lied to so many times. So, you know, we want to make sure we're eating, you know, Alaskan halibut versus Atlantic halibut. Big difference in the sustainability. So if you're going to a restaurant, you ask for where's the halibut from, and they just can't tell you, don't eat it. In fact, don't ever eat anything where they can't tell you. Put these restaurants and chefs on the spot. So we explained to the owner what our dietary restrictions are, and I'm basically saying, well, we eat most Alaskan seafood. First thing he says is, I have wild salmon. We're like, oh great, where's it from? And he says, let me go find out. I'll go look at the box. He comes back and goes, I don't have the box anymore, but it's either from the Yukon River or from the Copper River. Now it's November. It's the middle of November right now, okay? Yukon River, Copper River. They're not fishing those, okay? They're not, those seasons passed. The Copper River is the kickoff of the season, May 15th, June 15th. They fish two different species. What salmon does is salmon builds up all its fat through the winter, stores it all, and then as it starts its journey up the stream to spawn is when it starts eating its own fat from inside, because it doesn't eat once it starts swimming up. Like shad, once shad starts swimming up the Hudson River or any river, they stop eating, so they say they're not toxic because they're not consuming. I don't believe that. But, so the salmon are now filled with all kinds of fat, and they're getting ready to swim up the stream. That's when you snag them, right there in the spring into the midsummer. That's when you're snagging the salmon, the river run salmon. Once the salmon is swam upstream, it's burned off the fat. It's called a spent fish. The locals in Alaska do not eat those. They're spent fish, they're dead fish to them. So you can get Copper River salmon later in the season, but it's stuff that's upriver, you know, in September. So you'd want to avoid that. And the Yukon River has not been commercially fished for years. The Yukon River, you know, they open it up every 5 years or 6 years, whatever, and there's one, you know, the natives have the rights to all the fishing up there, and if they do open it up, some years they only catch chum. Some years they might do king salmon. I was able to get king salmon like 6 years ago, and I posted it online, and the Smithsonian magazine called me right away because there's not many chefs who are out there buying this expensive salmon. I got some good PR out of it from Smithsonian online because they were searching for chefs that were doing Yukon River salmon. So he tells me Yukon River, I say no. He tells me Copper River, I say no. And then I say, unless you're serving frozen, it might be that. I'm having a great conversation with the guy. I'm not busting him.
You actually asked him if it was fresh or frozen.
I asked him if it's fresh or frozen. No, we don't buy frozen fish, is what I was told. I was saying, honestly, I don't mind frozen fish. I have a whole video on frozen fish and the technology now of getting frozen fish and the health aspects, the safety aspects. Because a lot of seafood, especially in certain states like Jersey, you have to freeze all the sushi tuna. You have to freeze all the sushi fish and stuff like that to kill the parasites. And once you freeze it, it stops bacterial growth. So if you get fish right when it's caught, within 90 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and you get it frozen properly of catch when it's caught, you eliminate microbial growth. You have a much safer product. And with cryogenic freezing, where they go low, super low temperatures and blast freeze it, there's no damage to the cells like traditional freezing, like if we were to take a piece of salmon and throw it in our freezer at home and then thaw it out, because it's not the same freezing. It's a different freezing technique. So frozen's not bad. I don't do frozen. I said, well then what are you doing for salmon? Because then I flip out my phone and look at one of my vendors and say, here's one of the best vendors in the country that works directly with the boats, the guys, the fishermen. Here it is. All they have available right now is troll-caught king salmon from Alaska at $18 a pound. Your salmon on your menu is $18 an order, and here's $18 a pound whole fish. Something's not working right here in this equation. Now he has no idea where the salmon's from because somebody actually, you know, spoke up. Would you speak up? Would the average consumer know to speak up? No. But the thing is, you're going to say, wow, this restaurant is selling, you know, Yukon River salmon, Yukon River salmon. and it was only 16 bucks. Then when you go to a restaurant that's really serving Yukon or Copper River salmon, and they're paying 20 to 30 bucks a pound for the fish, and they have to get, 35 bucks for a 4-ounce portion, you're gonna be like, wow, that restaurant's a ripoff, when this other guy was selling it for 16 bucks. He didn't have it to begin with as a problem. This is really, an issue that I'm gonna really keep pounding on. Truth in menu. It's so important, and not many restaurants and chefs get it. And the people that do get it, support them and congratulate them and ask as many questions as you can. Now, here's my general rule. If they don't know where it's from, don't know where it's caught, don't buy it. And stand up and say, I need more information. Put some chefs and restaurateurs on the spot. I'm Marcus Guiliano. I'm a chef on a mission. Check out my new website, truthinmenu.com.